Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout now, shout now, right now. Shout now, shout now. Don't wait till you make it.
Hey, and welcome to the PHILLIP Show. I am Philip, and I'm so excited that you are here. Today is our premiere show, and I couldn't be any more excited. If you don't know what the PHILLIP Show is, this is a platform where we encourage you to be yourself. We celebrate individuality and authenticity, and we share inspiring stories, and we do some coaching, and we feature some really unique businesses that I think are my faves. And there's this segment called My Fave Spots, and I live in Yellow Springs, Ohio, so you have to know that this village is very unique, eclectic, and has some really awesome spots. And I'll be sharing those with you as we move forward. But listen, we have an awesome show today. I'm super excited about this wonderfully talented individual that's on the show. So let me tell you a little bit about him. His name is the talented Mr. James Phinizy, and he's a seasoned artist and Bronx native, and he started his career and creative journey teaching preschool on Park Avenue. His zany comedic spirit and sassy edge endeared him as Mr. Phinizy to kids, fellow teachers, and to the parents. After teaching a countless number of children and mentoring parents around New York, Mr. Phinizy is finally bringing his words, his songs, and his inclusive NYC brand to life. The first stop is a witty and vivid children's book called The Adventures of Pretzel Boy, which is inspired by his love of the rhythms of New York City and hip-hop rhyming patterns. The book features a spunky, lovable, and edible character, and the character's name is Pretzel Boy. Mr. Phinizy lives in New York City, where his book, like the title character, is already taking Manhattan by storm, and after Manhattan, it's going to take the world by storm. So we're excited to have him here and to share what's going on with him, his talents, and the new book that he has out called The Adventures of Pretzel Boy. James, it's so good to see you. Thank you for taking the time out of your crazy schedule to join us. How's everything going?
Hey, what's going on, Brother Philip? How you doing? I feel like I'm a little bit underdressed because you got a whole entire fiery furnace situation going on, and
well, listen, you got to.
I need a fiery furnace background. Come on,
I'll give you the link when we get off of here. So tell us, so you're starting. I want to know everything. It's only a 30-minute show, but I want to jump into everything. So let's start from the beginning, okay? So you have all of these talents. Tell us kind of how everything came about and how you decided that you wanted to go in the direction, particularly now, of becoming an author.
You know, it's so funny because it was always probably on one of the checklist of things that I wanted to do, but it never was something that I felt like I wanted to become J.K. Rowling or something like that. You know, maybe sure. J.K. Rowling in the dough in 2021. Hashtag J.K. Rowling in the dough.
Let's make it happen.
Come on, prophecy. It just was so funny. I've always worked with kids. I've always had these stories, you know, I'd write them down and, you know, put them in books. And, you know, you always have these stories. A lot of the times when I was teaching, I've had directors say, well, you know, any time you teachers could get your butts up and write a book. And then you start reading the books and you're like, well, maybe I could write a better book. And I've done that and had so many. And, you know, it was just an amazing opportunity that presented itself with, you know, the Pretzel Boy and so many more fun adventures. So there'll definitely be some more fun adventures. But right now, the one that just stepped to the front and has been evolving and leading the team is our incredible Pretzel Boy. So I'm really proud to see that manifested. But also beyond that, you know, there's also other stuff that we're doing. And, you know, the Mr. Phinizy brand is just an homage to like the old teaching days, the incredible families that we met. And in the process of that, you know, just telling incredible tales that represent people and have a twist of some moralistic things in y'all.
Oh. Moralistic things. Like
Well,
it. I like it. So when you were talking about, okay, so not to get away from Pretzel Boy, but I really want to kind of get into the journey of creative and how you kind of navigated that. So you used the term, we have some other things coming up. Who is we, and what other things are you, what other genres, I guess, or creative avenues are your outlets?
That's a really good question. I also have Pure Heart Unlimited Media,
Okay.
which is my production company. The first is the Adventures of Pretzel Boy launch, but we have some really fun stuff. The Adventures of Esther Bunny and Friends. We just have some comedy, some dramas, some comedic dramas, some action. There's some fun stuff going on in the back burners. Mama and Papa is cooking, and I'm blessed to have a great beans, greens, potatoes, and tomatoes.
Oh my God.
Just blessed to have a great team and having a good time. And really, that's really what I want to do. I want to be able to tell, stories. The ones that mean the most to me are the people sometimes are the ones who have the loudest stories, aren't always the ones who, get hurt the most. So that's what I want. I want to tell those stories.
Well, that's good. Well, through all of like having the production company and so many avenues, because you're so talented with all of these avenues that you have, you go into becoming the author that you are. Now, did you ever stop and kind of second guess your journey and say, I don't know if I want to do that? Because becoming the author industry, if you will, the book industry is super competitive. So did you ever just kind of stop and say, I don't know if this is what I need to do? I don't know.
I mean, there's never anybody who ever created or manifested anything that is worth something that did not have a mountain or two in a journey of trying to manifest that sucker. But you're gonna hit those holes. But at the same time, I also gotta give credit to my creator. Part of it, you gotta block off like the business brain and tap into the artist. And anybody who knows that if you are tapping into any form of artistic energy, which is beyond yourself, which is higher than you, and it's really a matter of you and the creator gives you the energy to do these things. That's why we have faith, because it's not necessarily us doing it. It wasn't me doing it at some points, because I remember when I was over it. But I remember God always, every time I got to that point, it was like, okay, I got a little bit more. And it was really a journey. And it always is a journey. That's why we have the beautiful Michelle Obama, when she entitled her book Becoming Michelle Obama. That's a journey to get there for all of us. So it definitely was a process and a journey that was longer than I thought it would be. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But the lessons that you learn from that are invaluable. You take that forever, and so many mistakes. Lord, you make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's the mistakes you learn from that you become better, because you don't make them anymore. So you hopefully take that and then you teach and you become better. So in that process of like becoming what this is, it definitely took a journey of becoming. So I can see why it took that road.
That's really good, and that's a lesson. After having read the book, it resonated with me and in my life, and the way that you just phrased that is perfect. That phrase, or that word that takes on so many meanings, becoming. It's all a journey, and you have to go from start to now, because the journey's not even finished.
It's not finished.
Start to now, and then from now to then. So that's awesome. And even in the book, Pretzel Boy has that same. He has that same word over him, becoming. So tell us about who is Pretzel Boy. Tell us about him.
Who is PB?
Not peanut butter and jelly.
The Pretzel Boy.
Yeah.
Who is Pretzel Boy? Pretzel Boy is, a pretzel that got placed in a microwave by two boys, Charlie and Max, and came to life. And in the process of him coming to the life, he decided that he wasn't going to let anybody have a, factor on what their agenda was for his life. And he knew what he was entitled to, which was to be his best self, or the best version of himself, or whatever that process looked like. He was on it. So it is a really fun, twisted tale, with some twist. We like to call it a, a old tale with a new spin. But
Yeah.
in the process of just all of that, it's just been so much fun. Just watching people from different places all over the world just like come together to just add their incredible, you know, energy towards it. It just goes to show you, that when you create something, that it's not even necessarily about you, but when you see how
Mm,
it affects other people, people you wouldn't even think, having an incredible Ukraine artist or, uh, editors from Israel, everybody working in different places all over the world to
yeah.
manifest this, thing. So it's nothing more than just an incredible miracle really to be a part of, and I feel very blessed because even though the process was a very long one, it was one that came with many lessons, and
Yeah.
you can't buy those things.
Yeah. Yeah. The
And,
best lesson, a lot of times, the best lesson is experience. You have to experience it, and then all of a sudden, even
yeah,
going into experiences without um, the initiative of looking for lessons, just the basic experience teaches so much. Yeah.
yeah.
So with the book, The Adventures of Pretzel Boy, he has so many lessons that are kind of implied, and well, they're the reality, but they're a little bit implied because of the way that he goes about his life and his existence, with being a little bit more ambiguous with his intentions. But a lot of them are situations and social situations that we experience every day. Were you
Sure.
intentional um, to create a character that kind of had our scenarios today be part of his life and his scenario?
When I was creating the overall graphic novel, that wasn't the intention on it. It really was something from, an experience that I had creating it with actually the a real Charlie and Max were two incredible, little children who helped me give so much light to, creating this story. So, kudos to them. And just from that whole experience from teaching and just working with them and their incredible family, and then, our families kind of merging. It just so many times that I've been
Mm,
blessed to have that happen. So that was a evolution of that story. But the more I delved into it, to when you have an opportunity to really understand sometimes life imitates art, it
yeah,
kind of was telling me that, So
yeah,
I could have an intention, but it had its own intention again. Like Pretzel Boy is beyond me. So it's like not me
yeah.
who's doing that. He was letting me know, like, okay, buddy. So the first part, which was a graphic novel, more in depth, really fun, just really introducing the characters. You really seen that in this version of the relaunch, we got a little bit more in depth of the story of, Pretzel Boy's voice. Yeah, it's so much fun in the adventure because, yeah, that's a tale for you. But the depth of it, of, this is a life at stake to where this life could easily be your life, and understanding the importance, especially to teach it to our children right now at this age, where they usually carry stains in them from this age of not understanding the importance of their voice, their life, and not even of that it matters, but the purpose that's attached to it.
Yeah.
Tap into that. So the intention this time around with myself, an incredible partner, was just really delving into the depth of, this is the story that's going to represent, kids, really all kids who can relate to it, and give them a sense of empowerment, but specifically to lift the nods and the chins of the heads of our little beautiful brown, babies who have to endure so much, and really let them know the importance of who they are.
That's a wonderful message. And as an adult, what was interesting, and it took me a little bit off guard, was that I could relate to.
Oh yeah, well, that's intentional too, because really, taking a nod from the lovely Kay who created Eloise on the Plaza.
Okay.
It was very intentional of creating a tale for kids of all ages, whether you're from like 9 months to 92. We want you to get into the Adventures of Pretzel Boy, and hopefully it can, open up some memorabilia for you and the experiences that you had for a similar tale, to where now you can share that with children, grandchildren, mom, dad. Bring the whole family out. Bring the dog too.
Just bring everybody.
Bring everybody.
One
Grandma
of
in the back.
he said, "Yeah, in the back." One of the things that I loved about the book was that the vernacular and the conversation of Pretzel Boy, the way that he phrased things, he's very hip. He's very hip. He's very now. He's very, very current. He's like deuces, and then he's like, dabbing him up like boom. I was like, hold up, we do all that, Pretzel Boy, but it was so.
Well, the thing with Pretzel Boy is he is pop culture,
Okay.
and pop culture is him. So, he's up on it. Been on. Hashtag been on. Okay.
Now, did you do that on purpose? Did you want him to be something that was very current and very fresh?
Well, he is current and fresh. Whether I wanted him to be it or not, he just was it. He was, like I said, he told me what he's not and what he will not be. And, and he's not to be taken for no joke or no game. He speaks for I want to say for the people, and says the things that you kind of want to say, but you can't, but he's so adorable and cute.
Yeah.
He is a shade machine, okay?
A shade machine.
Whole entire shade machine. Entire shade machine.
Because in the book, the word shady is used. There's so many current and trendy words that are used. And one of the things that I love about that is it's almost like in our now talking language. So it's not like a book is using phrases that are from a time gone by. Like somebody could be literally.
That's like an old tale with a new twist. That's the new twist.
That's the new twist.
It's the currency.
It's the currency. So let me ask you this, because I know a lot of times being creative, we put a lot of our personalities into, whether we know it or not, we put a lot of our personalities into our projects. Now, because you're funny and you're witty, did you see a lot of yourself in the character of Pretzel Boy?
Whether it is intentional or not, I remember Stan Lee saying every character that you create, there's a little piece of you in there. So,
okay.
At least I hope it was Stan Lee who said that.
Somebody said it.
Sounded good in my head. Somebody great said that, and but it's true, because you create a character and it is a part of you somewhere, because you're able to kind of channel the voice of what they're saying or doing or creating. It was a part of me. So if my genes are in there, unfortunately, I'm sure, the character will be extremely facetious.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe definitely a lot of shady, but that's okay, because he also has a voice, and there's also a lot of comedy and love in there. And I feel like what people need is to be not only in a place where they feel like they could feel relatable to what is going on.
Yeah.
I think people want to feel relatable.
Yeah. And I think that reading the book, there was that commonality or relatability, because again, it was almost like the way that the phrasing was going, and I mean, and he raps, right?
Spit a mean 16, don't corner him. And it's really one of the incredible things about him, where it really was, like the experience of, what us as millennial people have to go through, in the sense of like, you corner people and already deemed a troublemaker for using your voice or creating, but he creates diversions every time he is backed into a corner, and he's able to create musical diversions, and really thinking about hip hop in general, of just how it's been able to give us so many incredible, platforms and opportunities and a showcase of just, Black and brown talent to be able to use that form of like poetry and flow and voice.
Yeah.
So it just made me think of that. So just the fun of it all, just be able to take a situation and just his personality, so wild and off the chain, and there's so many fun
Yeah.
things you can do with that. So that is it. Like I said, again, but he's everything. It's not even just hip hop. It's beyond that, to where it's like he is a product of pop culture. So
Yeah.
in a sense, he becomes a voice.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely a lovable character. He's definitely fun. Like, I mean, he might be putting time out, but he's still fun.
If you can catch him.
Yeah, right. If you can catch him, because he's slick like that. So outside of him being pop culture and outside of him being trendy and just a really neat character, there's some real deep meanings in the book that can go unnoticed, maybe by kids, but not by adults. What themes do you see that people could have takeaways, that people could take away, adults as well, from this lovable character?
I mean, there's so many themes in there that someone can take away. I feel like, well, first, I want you to go read the book. So I don't want to give you way too much.
Step one.
I want them to walk away with the main feeling of connection, in the sense of you in yourself are the most valuable thing, and it is so important that no one stops the turning wheel or the or plant a seed inside anyone to let them know that they can't do something. Like, it's really important, or stop them, or block them, or you're not this. Because you are not this, you cannot. Very specific. I want whoever to take away the connection of understanding that no one can stop you but you.
That's it. Yeah.
Go forth and continue to be the best version of you, regardless of how people perceive you. That's their business. But you do you, and be yourself in the process of that. If you can manage to be yourself in the process of all of that stuff really will fall into place. It's you that really is incredible, the individual. But people will psych you out. So that is really what I want the message to be, is for people, to kids in general, specifically, of course, to empower themselves with the mind frames to understand, nothing should stop you from being the best version of yourself.
Wow, that's good. And I know some adults that message will resonate with as well. And,
and I'm going to have some books for them too. It may not be Pretzel Boy, but they're coming.
And by the way, oh my goodness. Okay, so Pretzel Boy, and you've been doing some pre-sale for the book, but if I'm not mistaken, your book launches, is it February the 5th?
February 5th, we are officially live. Please go to our website at www.theadventuresofpretzelboy.com. And please go sign up, pre-register on our mailing list. We love to see you and get you a copy. There's somebody in your household who needs a copy of that book. So
yeah, this is one of those classic books, from the content to the main character to the illustrations. And I know that you had mentioned that.
From New York. Yeah, it's intentional. Oh yeah, New York is also in that book. So that's really one of the, and I love New York. It really was a homage also to, I do love me some New York, but at the same time, I love my New York people more.
Yeah.
As the book and the brand continues to grow, I really continuously just want to let all my little New Yorkers know that, they are loved.
Yeah. Well, definitely.
And beyond, and beyond. And this is a love letter from New York to me, to wherever you are in the world. Go get the book. You can get a piece of New York.
So the end result here is get the book, and I will just have to say that that I really enjoyed the book. I want my nieces to read it. There's so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's so much empowerment and discovery in there, as well as fun and excitement. But I love the fact that let me ask you this before I tell you what I love the fact of. For Pretzel Boy, we talk about children. What is the age range, if you will, for Pretzel Boy, for the book, The Adventures of Pretzel Boy? What's the age range of the book?
Well, so funny, when we started with the graphic novel, that was older from, 8 to 12. This version, it's a little bit shorter. We really were thinking about our early readers for this relaunch, and specifically, anywhere between 4 and 8, 4 and 9. We really want kids to kind of, get some letter recognition and be able to, eventually read the book to you. So, what a wonderful book to start, reading journey with your kid. And, you can also go over letter recognition with them. And, there's some really fun songs in there you can sing with them. And it's a really great training book from young to, older. And that was the intention of it, just creating a really fun transitional book.
Well, you did it. You really did it.
You.
Yeah, I'm excited about it getting to the hands of parents, because once parents see the lessons, and once they see the impact that it can have, this is the perfect way to kind of introduce some of these topics in a very creative way, in a very disarming way, and to open up that dialogue. If it was a difficult dialogue to have with younger people, I think it's brilliant, and I really enjoy it. It's really good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you.
Well, I know we have to go, but I hope that you will come back and let us know what's going on with the book, how it's going, how it's impacting people's lives, and what's next for the amazingly talented Mr. Phinizy.
I am going to bottle up all of that and put it under my pillow as I dream tonight, because it sounded better coming from you. So.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Your schedule sounds so busy. I'm going to take a nap just because I know you got a lot to do and it makes me tired. But
I already took a nap in my head thinking about it. So. Oh
my gosh. Well, much success on your book, and we can't wait to get our hands on the physical copies of The Adventures of Pretzel Boy.
Yes, please. So and also follow me at James Phinizy on Instagram, or Mr. Phinizy _ on Instagram as well.
All right. So thank you, James. This was such a great show, and I'm so glad that you guys tuned in so you could hear just another nugget in our tool belt as we move forward in the initiative for you to be the best version of yourself. Be you, and everything else will fall into place. We thank James Phinizy for coming and just blessing us with his book. If you'd like to learn more about the PHILLIP Show, make sure that you go to phillipo'rourke.com. And if you'd like to submit an inspiring story or just anything, you can contact us there. But as usual, just stay encouraged, be inspired, and remember, you are the best you in the world. All right, we'll see you next time.
Don't